I just want to apologize in advance because you got bald Mark Wahlberg on a plane. I don't know why he shaved his head, but he did for some reason. He's got a little teddy bear and a transformer. What's up, Flick fans? That gets worse every time I do it. To say this feels nothing like the rest of Mel Gibson's filmography is an understatement. I'm a huge fan of most of his movies, so today we're talking Flight Risk. Does it land?
I never flew U.S. Marshal before.
Hope you like flying. Beautiful day for it.
A pilot transports an air marshal accompanying a fugitive to trial. As they cross the Alaskan wilderness, tensions soar, I see what you did there, and trust is tested, as not everyone on board is who they seem. This movie is rated R. You know, it's not for kids, but it's not the worst R-rated movie I've ever seen. There's basically just some violence and language, the classic things you expect from a pulpy 90s action movie ripoff, and I love how the premise says, oh, there's a mystery to who's on board. No, there's not, because the trailer tells you exactly who on board is bad. So if you haven't seen the trailer, you probably shouldn't watch this review because I'm going to reveal it because it's in the marketing, not a spoiler. It's me, everybody. It's Mark Wahlberg. I'm the bad guys because I shaved my head and I don't even know what I'm doing here. I need departed Mark Wahlberg back. Even Ted Mark Wahlberg, to me, is a great version. The Other Guys, classic comedy in my opinion, very underrated movie. But, you know, this is kind of one of those roles that you can take and do something with, or you can be ridiculously over the top and seem even worse than maybe you even are if you've got a bad script. And the issue, I'd say the main issue with Flight Risk, and there's a number of them, is the script is bad. The premise is interesting. This gives you kind of the floor you need to make a compelling, intense action thriller, one that kind of feels claustrophobic because you're in a plane for most of the movie. Things are happening. You know, you've got people arguing with each other, trying to figure out who I can trust, who I can't trust. I mean, it's got to be Mark Wahlberg, right? Because he's saying things. Even at the beginning of the movie, he's like really creepy towards Michelle Dockery's character. First of all, the way he talks, I thought the accent was kind of hilarious, which could make this movie more entertaining. But he'll say things every now and then. You're just like, all right, man, that's not how normal people talk. And he leans into it more once it's revealed who he actually is. But even in the beginning, the conversations that they're having, you know, it's the same formula these Netflix straight-to-streaming movies often have. And inevitably, that falls flat more so than not. But with a director like Mel Gibson, who has given me some of my favorite movies. I mean, I loved Hacksaw Ridge. I know people push back. I love that movie. Apocalypto, Braveheart, top 50 movie of all time for me. How about Passion of the Christ, which is it's a complete 180 from a movie like Flight Risk. And then he does Flight Risk. It's like, this is not who Mel Gibson is to me. Mel Gibson is an acclaimed Oscar-winning director. Like, he's the guy you go to for a story, whether it be a true story, something a little exaggerated, but something that feels grounded and realistic. Flight Risk is the opposite. It's not grounded. Get it? Because they're in the sky. This is not the way people talk to each other. And again, Mark Wahlberg is so over the top. He's like, you make that decision, things are going to go real bad for you. I'm going to take your insides and cook them up and make a nice stew.
What the fuck?
Whoa, pal, calm down. All right, Topher Grace is used and utilized for the comedic relief character, and that's really what he is throughout this entire movie. A couple of emotional moments when he realizes how much peril they are actually in, but there is like a lightness to the dialogue, even when they are in an immense amount of peril and things are going horribly, whether it's the people on the phone or the people on the plane, they're just like, oh yeah, we're going to die. Let's crack a joke. And that could be good. I mean, look, there's so many 90s action films that I could list and name and go back to, even early 2000s, where they're kind of cracking jokes in the heat of the moment, and it's fun, entertaining. The characters are likable. The problem is I couldn't really, even Michelle Dockery's character, like, you're supposed to be rooting for her, and I was, but at the same time, there's not a ton of likability. Topher Grace, I guess, but he was so over the top in moments. In the beginning, it feels like a schlocky comedy, and you've got some visual effects in the opening shots of the movie where I'm like, this is bad.
This is bad. This is very, very bad.
Is this an unfinished? Did you not render it all the way, what you're trying to do with a certain animal? I'm like, God, man, it looked horrible. And that's when I got B-movie vibes, and the way Topher Grace is acting to the people that come in after him. Like, this is weird dialogue. It's not what I'm used to from Mel Gibson, and it's not quite landing. Another plane pun. You know when a movie is just trying really hard to be funny, trying really hard to be entertaining, but nothing really comes together tonally, up and down, because it's taking itself serious, then it's being ridiculous, and then Mark Wahlberg saying things that are supposed to feel threatening. I'm like, I don't feel threatened. I feel creeped out, and I need some pepper spray. And this is not the case, probably. So don't take me serious on this, most likely. But AI is a thing, and, you know, this does feel like one of those movies that you type in and be like, give me a script for this, and then it pumps out that, and I'm like, Flight Risk. If you're entertained by Flight Risk, you put it on in the background on Netflix. Oh, wait, it's not a Netflix movie. You have to go see this in the theater. And unless you have, like, the Regal Pass where you can get really cheap tickets, I don't know if you'd be happy spending $15 on a ticket and then $15 more for a bucket of popcorn. Before I give you my score, I watched the new horror movie Presence yesterday, and if you all want to see a ranking of the best picture nominees from me, we could talk more. Emilia Perez. Isn't that great? Drop that like. I appreciate it, and I appreciate all of your support. We're going to review a lot of movies this year. Flight Risk is a massive departure from what we're used to from Mel Gibson, as a schlocky B-movie, feels cheap, and features hilarious dialogue that is hard to take seriously. There's something to this dynamic between these three characters, and the first act has its moments. The issues spawn from a lack of tension, awkward line delivery, oh yeah, and an abrupt ending that is so abrupt, like, boom, 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 things happen, and then one more quick things happen, and we're gone. Are you teasing a sequel? Like, what was the... Oh, boy. Flight Risk. Gotta say, really disappointed in this. Not my biggest disappointment of the year so far, but second, I would say. Second behind Wolfman. 2025, what are we doing? It's... All right, guys, I'll see you soon.